This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Hello viewers, you're watching Pulse of Africa. I'm Samia Mohammed for the main news. First, our top stories for today. Congo president plans unity government in response to Eastern crisis. Niger launches copper mine to spur its mineral ambitions. EU plans extraordinary summit on defense next month. Alibaba accelerates cloud and AI growth with $52.4 billion investment. Now, news in detail. Congolese President Félix Tshisekedi will launch a unity government, his spokesperson said, as he faces domestic pressure over his handling of an offensive by M23 rebels in eastern provinces. The M23's capture of swaths of eastern Congo and valuable mineral deposits has fanned fears of a wider war and provoked some members of the fractious opposition to openly predict his presidency will not last. On Saturday, Tshisekedi told a meeting of the ruling Sacred Union coalition not to be distracted by internal quarrels. We must unite, let's stand together to face the enemy. Presidency spokesperson Tina Salama said Tshisekedi would form a government of national unity and make changes in the leadership of the coalition without giving further details. Since the start of the year, Congo has faced back-to-back losses in North and Southern Kivu provinces, fueling criticism of the authorities' military strategy. Now, let's move on to Niger. Niger on Sunday announced the imminent start of copper mining in its desert north as the country seeks to diversify its exploitation of raw materials. Niger, which is already a major producer of uranium, has granted a permit to National Farm Campaign Minere de Air in the Agadez region. Niger is continuing its program of diversifying mining production with a move that marks its entry into a restricted circle of countries producing this strategic mineral, said the military government, which took power after a July 2023 coup. The government said research had indicated the mines could produce some 2,700 tons a year for a decade, creating some 300 direct jobs and providing millions of dollars in revenue to the state, with the soft metal currency trading at about $9,000 per ton. In other news, South Africa's Eskom has managed to restore 8 units at power plant after implementing its highest stage of controlled power cuts early on Sunday, the power utility said after multiple failures at Mujaba and Camden power stations over the weekend. On Saturday, Eskom applied stage 3 power cuts, known locally as load shedding, effectively cutting 3,000 megawatts to the national grid. Of the 10 units that we lost overnight, we have essentially returned 6 units, Eskom Group CEO Dan Marakon told reporters on Sunday. He said 5 to 6 units were expected to become operational during the course of the day, bolstering the 3,200 megawatt of capacity recovered overnight. We anticipate getting out of this stage by the end of this week, he said, adding that given the pace of recovery, Eskom would consider dialing down its power cuts by Monday. Next to AU. The African Union high-level delegation led by Minister of External Relations of Angola and AU G20 head of delegation Tete Antonio participated at the first G20 foreign ministers meeting held this week under South Africa's G20 presidency. In his address to the ministers, AU G20 head of delegation Tete Antonio emphasized the strong alignment between South Africa's G20 priorities and Agenda 2063, Africa's transformation, blueprint for inclusive growth, sustainable development, and technological advancement. He further underscored how this synergy presents a unique opportunity to accelerate Africa's progress while contributing to global prosperity. The AU reaffirmed its commitment to the G20 Compact with Africa, calling for all African countries and G20 members to join this vital initiative to drive economic reforms and attract investments. Shifting to AU, European Union leaders will meet for an extraordinary summit on March 6 to discuss additional support for Ukraine, European security guarantees, and how to pay for European defense needs, EU officials said on Sunday. We are living a defining moment for Ukrainian European security. In my consultations with European leaders, I've heard a shared commitment to meet those challenges at EU level, strengthening European defense and contributing decisively to peace on our continent and long-term security of Ukraine, the chairman of EU summits, Antonio Costa, said on X. The summit comes as US President Donald Trump has started talks with Russia on ending the war in Ukraine, but without inviting Ukraine or the European Union to the table. The Trump administration has also made clear that it is now more focused on China than Russia and that Europeans will have to invest more on their own defense, rather count on Washington. Under an agreement among members of NATO, EU countries that are part of the alliance should spend 2% of GDP on defense every year, but many, including big countries like Germany, Italy, or Spain, still spend less. On Germany's election, German conservative leader Friedrich Merz ruled out coalition with the far-right Alternative for Germany party after declaring victory in parliamentary election Sunday. According to the latest projections, Merz's conservative alliance comprised the Christian Democratic Union, and the Christian Union received 28.6% of the vote, while the AfD came in second with 20.4%. Merz emphasized that coalition with the AfD is out of the question. Merz also criticized the AfD regarding its Russia policy. Merz stressed that this does not reflect the values of CDU and CSU, and that is why coalition is completely out of the question.
Only on the Pulse of Africa channel, all the time. Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Now, turning to business news. Chinese tech giant Alibaba Group Holding Ltd announced on Monday its plan to invest over 380 billion yuan in its cloud computing and artificial intelligence infrastructure over the next 3 years. Wu Yongming, CEO of Alibaba Group, said the investment exceeds the company's total AI and cloud spending of the past decade, underscoring its focus on AI-driven growth strategy. With this investment, Alibaba is scaling up its AI capabilities and cloud infrastructure to support the next wave of technological advancements. The announcement came after the company reported that its revenue from its cloud business rose 13% year-on-year during the October-December period, with AI-related product revenue achieving triple-digit growth for the 6th consecutive quarter. Finally, the billionaire's Starlink communication network is facing increasingly stiff challenges to its dominance of high-speed satellite internet. Shanghai-based SpaceSail in November signed an agreement to enter Brazil and announced it was in talks with other 30 countries. 2 months later, it began work in Kazakhstan. According to the Kazakh embassy in Beijing, separately Brasilia, in talks with Beidou's Project Kuiper internet service and Canada's Telesat, according to the Brazilian official involved in the negotiation, with who spoke on condition of anonymity to freely discuss ongoing talks. Starlink has since 2020 launched more satellites into low Earth orbit, an altitude of less than 2,000 kilometers than all its competitors combined. Before concluding, let us provide you with the latest updates on global commodity prices. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Also, bye.
This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.